Hey y'all, Biohack here with some rather unfortunate news. Plarium today released an update video where they're talking about some changes that are coming to the game, and they're talking about nerfs that they're doing to some of the bosses to, in theory, make them easier. And one of these nerfs, I think, has the unintended consequence of completely breaking the Blizaar solo Sand Devil strategy that I developed for Sand Devil back when Blizaar first came out, and we had the Heroes Path event to get his 5-star soul. Now, originally, when they told us they were going to nerf these bosses, they said that they weren't going to break any existing strategies. So I don't think this is an intended change necessarily. I think this is something they're doing on accident because they don't fully understand how exactly this strategy works and what changing this slumber counter to 8, that's what's happening right here on stage 25. It's going from 6 to 8. What that actually does to the Blizaar strategy and how it breaks the game. So in this video, I want to essentially show you exactly what's going to go wrong once this update hits live. I want to encourage Plarium to either revert this update or change the way Brimstone works, and we'll talk about that in a bit. And also just make an uproar about this so that hopefully this doesn't actually happen and we can continue to use the solo Blizaar strat, make you all aware of it, and hopefully we can all raise a stink and get Plarium to not implement this change the way they have talked about it in this video. So let me jump over to a run of Sand Devil and I'll show you what the actual problem is. Okay, so I have a little run of the Sand Devil that I've recorded here, and I want to show you how the fight normally works. So what's going to happen is we're going to load in here, and the first thing that's going to happen is the boss is going to do his big nuke. Blizaar is going to wake up, and he's going to use his A2 ability, which doesn't hit the boss. And so we're going to see the boss. If you look at the sleep counter right there, the boss is going to use one turn, and then he's going to almost fill his turn meter up again. So he's about to take his second turn. Blizaar is going to throw out the Brimstone, and then the boss is going to wake up. The boss is going to nuke. That activates the Brimstone. Blizaar is going to take 2 more turns. 1, 2. Then the boss is going to take another turn and nuke him. So we're running on a 4-turn cycle with the boss's nuke. Boss nukes. Blizaar wakes up, he uses his A2, he A3s, or he A1s 3 times, the boss nukes again, he wakes up, and that's the cycle that repeats. And that 4-turn cycle is super important because the Sand Devil, or the Brimstone Blessing, has a 4-turn internal cooldown on when it can be placed again. And so we need it to sync up so that that cooldown aligns with when the boss is asleep, and then he can actually place the debuff, because if the boss isn't sleeping, the Brimstone won't land. So the fact that that A2 is in there basically serves as a counterbalance to what can go wrong when you're running this Blizaar comp. And if I go look at the minute 120 here, you're going to see it. Well, here, we'll go back to the beginning of this cycle. So where's the nuke? Okay, here's the nuke. So I think this is where it's at. So what's going to happen is he's going to nuke. Blizaar's going to wake up. He's going to use... Oh, whoops, I went too early. Hold on. It's the cycle before that. Is it this one? Sorry, let me find it. I think it's right before that. Okay, so here we go. So he's going to nuke the boss. Blizaar's going to wake up. He's going to use his A2. He's going to hit the boss. He's going to hit the boss again. Now the boss is going to weak hit him twice in a row. So the boss... weak hits right here. The boss weak hits right here. And what happens when that double weak hit is that we never place the decreased speed on the Blizaar. So normally we're running at a 4-turn cycle with the boss's nuke. Blizaar is going to take an extra turn right here. He's going to use his A2 before the boss nukes him down. And that is a big problem because we're going to completely desync the Brimstone. So you watch what's going to happen. Is he's going to hit? Actually, it's not going to decrease the Brimstone, but it would. So the boss basically nuked him down, and then you'll notice that he used his A1 on the opener. And you'll also notice that there's 2 turns left on this sleep counter. And so Blizaar took 1 turn, and watch what happens. Blizaar took another turn. That's 2 turns. And now the boss is awake. And so the boss is going to nuke him. Blizaar's going to take a 3rd turn. Boss is going to hit. Oh, we hit him again. Blizaar took the 4th turn. It happened twice in a row. So we're going to miss it. Okay, but the short version there is what happened is he got back on the 4-turn cycle because he was able to A1 twice and wake the boss up early. You'll see that the boss, instead of taking that 5 turns, what would have been 5 turns, he wakes the boss up early with those 2 hits on the A1 because he doesn't use the A2 while the boss is sleeping. And that is what allows us to resync the Brimstone cooldown so that it's ready to go back when the boss nukes him down again and goes into that sleep cycle. So when they change the boss to have an 8 turn or 8 hit requirement to wake him up from the sleep cycle, it's no longer going to work with Blizaar, because this key interaction right here, where he wakes him up this turn early, that's not going to happen because there's still going to be a counter on the turns, and that's going to throw the whole thing off. Blizaar is then going to get stuck. And so instead of A1ing on this next turn, right, or the turn right there that he just took, he's going to A2 on that turn. And that's going to completely mess up this whole Brimstone cycle sync thing. So that's the idea. I hope that was kind of clear in terms of what's going on. But the moral of the story, the thing you need to understand is when the boss double weak hits Blizaar and he takes an extra turn because the decreased speed doesn't land, the fact that he wakes the boss up a turn early by A1ing it twice is critical for getting that Brimstone cooldown to sync back up on the boss. So if they increase the counter, it's going to completely break this comp, because that cooldown is going to be completely messed up when the boss basically doesn't skip a turn because Blizaar wakes it up early. So I really, really want to encourage Plarium not to implement this change, although there is actually an even better alternative that they could do. This is something I suggested to them when we originally developed the Blizaar Sand Devil solo comp, and people booked their Blizaars only to discover that booking him completely broke the team. And that is, if you don't put the Brimstone Blessing on cooldown if it's blocked by the boss. Basically, only activate the internal cooldown on the Brimstone Smite debuff if it can actually land. If he tries to use it on the boss, but the boss blocks it because it can't receive debuffs when he's not sleeping, don't put it on cooldown. That would completely fix this problem. That would also then allow you to implement this nerf that you want to do on the boss, and it would have the side benefit of all the people that accidentally booked their Blizaar could now go back and actually use this comp, and it should work properly. So hopefully they'll do one of those two things. I prefer the second one. I think that would be, I think they should have done that way back in the day when I told them to, when we first developed this, and they kind of told me they weren't going to fix it, which I thought was a real bummer. But now I think is a perfect opportunity to revisit that decision, fix it. And if they're not going to fix it, they told us they weren't going to break any existing comps. And this is a really popular one that people really like to use to farm food in Sand Devil. And so if they break this, that's really going to suck. So I hope this was completely unintended and they just didn't realize how this mechanic is working. To be honest, very, very few people do understand exactly why this is going on, but that's why I felt it was so important that I make this video. So spread it around, tell your friends to, go tell Plarium not to implement this change into the game, and let us keep our Blizaar solo comps. And if you like more cool strategies like this, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.